Well, good morning. Captain Brent Allred with the Wichita Police Department. Just briefly this morning, I want to talk about a video that we received over the weekend. We received a tip that there was a video of the Old Town shooting on a YouTube video. So we had detectives come in over the weekend, pull that video, and they're currently going through some of that video to see if it's what information they can glean from that video, to see how much we can take out of that video pertaining to the Old Town shooting. I know it's been posted around several websites on YouTube video. This is some video that we received a tip from. It's nothing that we put out, but I am still requesting anybody with information on video or information on the shooting itself to please come forward and provide that to us. We really don't care how we get it. Let us get that in our possession so the detectives can go through that video and glean what they can out of it. The more information that we get on this case, the better chances that we have to solve this case. So again, I'm making a plea to the public that please come forward with this information. We're glad that we do have the video from this weekend, or was put out on YouTube video this weekend. And I'm still requesting people, because we know there's more individuals out there that have video or information on the shooting, and I'm asking those individuals to step forward and provide that to us, so at least we have the opportunity to go through that to see what kind of information is in those videos and if it can be relevant to the shooting. Every piece of information, every piece of evidence, like I said before, is very important to us as a department and a community to get. And as we mentioned a week ago, just like the video that's out now, we know there's more information out there. And we continue to work on this case daily, and we just need, again, the citizens and the public's help to help us solve this case. So if they have any information, again, we request that they call the homicide section at 268-4181, 911 or Crime Stoppers. We're just asking for more and more information.
It's obvious, but how helpful is video and what you guys are trying to piece together with what happened that night?
Every piece of evidence where there's video, people know that their friend was there, that can provide some information on other individuals that were there. I can assure you, when we get names, those detectives are going out and contacting those individuals to see what kind of information they can provide to us. And I think a lot of times some people don't believe that the stuff that they have would be relevant. Well, in this job, everything's relevant. Every piece of evidence is critical. One person's dead, 6 people were injured, and this is a very important investigation, and people need to step forward and provide us with that information.
And the video, Captain, that you have now, was it helpful at all? I mean, did you get something out of it?
Well, we are still going through that video. I know it was I have not personally seen the video, but I know it's a lengthy video, and this is what it appears to be is a portion of the disturbance that took place. So we're going to go through the video and see what information we can. And right now, I can't tell you that's been helpful. But I think at some point in time, when we get done reviewing all the information, we're going to glean something from that that's going to assist us with the investigation, whether it's assisting us with going out and identifying other individuals that were at the club that possibly could provide us information. So I think anything that we can get from the public's assistance is going to help us. So we're still requesting that.
Have you identified a shooter?
No, we have not.
How many people have you actually questioned?
Interviewed? I don't have an exact number for you, but I can probably tell you it's in the 40s, somewhere in there. And as we mentioned a week ago, we know there are probably 200 other individuals out there. Not that maybe every one of them would have seen something, but we know that there's more evidence out there, more individuals that can provide us with information that can assist us, and we hope they do that.
And I know we've talked about this before, but why is this one so difficult to get people to come forward with information and to come, you'd think someone who saw a homicide would be willing to cooperate with
Mm-hmm. Well, I think not only in this, but in other cases, we have a difficult time, and some individuals think about retaliation, and then other individuals, it didn't happen to someone that they know or love, so they don't want to get involved in a case like this. But I guess in my mind, you have to step forward at some point in time in your life if you know something on this. Take some type of responsibility as an adult or a young adult and we need to put the person that's responsible in custody so he can go through the justice system.
Have the 6 shooting victims been cooperative?
I'm not going to. I don't really want to go into some of their comments. We've interviewed them and have gleaned some information out from what we've been able to get from them as we talked to them.
You talked about it a little bit, but obviously, you know, you guys made a plea for video. This one just kind of goes up on YouTube. You get a tip about it. I mean, I'm sure you prefer that they came to you first, but at the same time, any means necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It would be nice if they would have, walked in and handed it and put it on my desk, and it would have been awesome. But I really don't care how we get the information right now. We just want the information. Some individuals to come forward, and there's several avenues to do that. Crime Stoppers. You can mail me a video of it. You can make copies of that stuff. You can give it to whoever, as long as we get it. As long as at some point in time we get that, so we can go through it. We've got very well trained detectives. And video people that can go through some of that stuff and enhance that and maybe add to what's already out there. So we're going to do what we can and put whatever resources we need into solving this case, just like we do any other case.
When it comes to any case and there's video footage, surveillance cameras, cell phone videos, what are you guys looking for when you're watching the video for clues or evidence? Are you guys looking for faces, license plates?
You named it. Any little information, individuals that were out there at the time this occurred, even beforehand, because they may have information of what maybe precipitated and led to this shooting. Afterwards, maybe there's people talking or evidence left at the scene. The person who did the shooting. Tag numbers. We go through that stuff with a fine-tooth comb. Sometimes you get better video than others. But we're doing what we can to get whatever information we can out of this video and any other video that we receive. But video is important, but there's people out there that also saw some more. And we need those people to step forward, be an adult, and provide us with the information. Let us take it from there. We want the information and see what we can do to enhance this investigation.
What about security at Old Town?
Mm-hmm.
Has that been increased?
I'm going to actually let Chief Williams, he's going to talk a little bit about what we've done over the past week or following weeks on additional security in Old Town. So if there's no more questions about this, I'm going to pass it on to Chief Williams. Good to go? All right. You're welcome.
Good morning. I too want to re-emphasize and reiterate what Captain Aldridge has talked about as far as the public's assistance. As I mentioned last week, when you look at any kind of homicide, it's about putting together the pieces to the puzzle in order for us to be able to identify, make an arrest, and get a successful conviction. One of the questions was, why is it difficult for us to get those pieces? There again, when you look at fear factor, concerns about retaliation, but at the end of the day, we all have a responsibility and an obligation to help those families that have lost a loved one as a result of violence, and particularly Mr. Hopkins' family. I mean, they want to know why. Why were their son killed? And then the other 6 victims want to know why were they shot randomly there in Old Town. In regards to some of the security, in December of 2012, we developed a special operations plan for the Old Town area. This past Wednesday, we had an opportunity as a staff, led by Deputy Chief Nelson Mosley. We went back into that operations plan and looked at what is it we need to tweak to ensure that we're accomplishing the goal. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to ensure that not only is our community safe and secure, but also Old Town, because we know that that is a very busy location throughout the weekend, and so we want to make sure people are having a good time. What are some of the measures that we've implemented since last week? First of all, we're utilizing both on-duty and off-duty personnel. We made a decision for a short period of time that the department's going to pay overtime to have additional officers to work with the on-duty officers. Those off-duty officers specifically are going to have tasks that they need to accomplish, and some of those tasks include periodically club checks, walking in, visiting with the patrons, visiting with the managers, trying to be proactive as far as that uniform and trying to de-escalate situations that may begin to emerge inside of some of our establishments. And not only that, they're going to also be walking the parking lots, things of that nature there. The other thing that we're also going to be utilizing is the air section. We made a decision to make sure that the air section is flying during those peak times on Saturday night. That way they give us an aerial platform to see what's going on, plus the air section can cover a lot more area being up in the air. Another addition to the plan that we implemented is contacting our reserve officers to ask if they would volunteer to monitor the cameras in Old Town. As you know, Old Town has about 5 different cameras, and so instead of tying up one of our officers and removing them from proactive patrol, our goal is to have a reserve to assist us during that peak time between about 11 till about 3 o'clock in the morning. That way they can scan and see what's going on and report things to the officers as they move around. As we know, for historically, that combination of vehicle traffic and pedestrian traffic has been a challenge, because when people are driving their vehicles and they stop and they talk to somebody, traffic backs up. And so the thing we're looking at is how do we alter the traffic flow, particularly during the time that the establishments are closed, to avoid the bottlenecks, to avoid the cruising, to make sure that we're getting people out of the area in a very peaceful, safe manner once the establishments are closed. To give you an idea, as far as this past weekend is when we began some of the changes that I just talked about. Ironically, we had 55 self-initiated calls. In other words, instead of being dispatched to a call by 911, these additional officers, both on duty and off duty, they were out there being visible. They were out there interceding when they see somebody that was drinking, somebody that may have been smoking, somebody that was driving under the influence. Those kind of things is what we were doing when we say self-initiated. We had 2 DUI arrests this weekend. We had 5 liquor law cited violations, rather. We had 9 club checks, and we made 11 arrests as far as different charges. And we're talking about misdemeanor charges that the officers observed as they were patrolling those different areas. And so, like I said, yes, there's additional resources in the area. Those additional resources have a specific objective and goal that we want to accomplish during this short temporary term, and we're going to evaluate in the next maybe 30 to 45 days exactly how effective has those changes been in regards to what we're doing. Keep in mind, the plan that we developed in December was in conjunction to a lot of the other things that we've talked about before, as far as the city council passing the curfew violation, the curfew ordinance, as far as the businesses trimming the trees and enhancing the lighting, installing the cameras. All of these things have come together to allow us to be able to be successful. It's just unfortunate a week ago we had one incident that happened that resulted in 1 person dying and 6 people being injured. And with any plan, it's ebb and flow. We're constantly making adjustments. As I said, we met last Wednesday. We're making adjustments to our plan. We're constantly evaluating it to make sure that we're accomplishing the things that we want to get accomplished in regards to the Old Town area. So I'll open it up for questions that you may have of me.
What's the current, prior to these changes, what was the security plan in Old Town?
Well, when you look at the previous security plan, there again was looking at increasing the number of officers. I mean, when you have 11 or 12 officers down there, so we've augmented that with another 10, so you're looking at it's hopefully up to as many as 20 plus officers that may be in that area. The other thing, instead of having the air section available sporadically, we made a concerted effort to say the air section will be in the air on Saturday nights. Utilizing reserves. I mean, that's something that's been new when you look at the security plan that we've implemented now. That wasn't in the plan. So.
And talking about those cameras, Chief, I know there was some cloud last week about whether or not those cameras were supposed to be monitored. Were they supposed to be? And if they weren't, why?
Well, there again, you got to keep in mind you're talking resources. I mean, you got X amount of resources to be able to ensure that we're providing the best security. And when you look at monitoring cameras, I mean, here in City Hall, we have 12 security officers that monitor cameras 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't have those kind of resources. And so you have to be judicious in how and when you monitor those cameras. And like I said, with the most recent revision to our plans, we appealed to our reserve unit to ask them if they would help us, because we don't have the resources. But what is being missed is the fact that the cameras, they're continually running. In other words, they're continuous looping, gathering information that we can go back and be able to look at what that information is. It's not like the cameras aren't operating. They do retain valuable investigative information that we can look at.
And over the weekend, though, it was pretty much quiet. There was no kind of...
Yeah, I was down there this weekend. It was fairly quiet. I mean, most people are pretty much, when the clubs ended, went to their vehicles. Like I said, I think you have the statistics that are before you from the standpoint of arrests. And like those misdemeanor arrests, some of them had to do it with the warrants that people had that we came in contact with. There was no mention of any weapons that while I was out there. And so, like I said, it's still early to tell. We'll find out over the next several weeks, and we'll sit down and evaluate as a team to see if there's any other adjustments or what else do we need to do next.
And on that note, are you looking at maybe adding some more security cameras down there? I know that this is an area that isn't currently covered perhaps in this particular area, but is that another part of your adjustment and looking at some tweakings to the plans down there?
That is going to be a discussion with the Old Town Association, because those cameras that are down there belong to the Old Town Association. No taxpayer dollars were used to purchase those cameras, but rather the Old Town Association purchased the cameras. So if any additional cameras, that's going to be a discussion from the Old Town Association.
And Chief, when you say reserve officers, can you explain that?
Reserve officers are volunteer police officers that normally work another job for 8 hours a day, and then they volunteer their time assisting us, providing working with police officers. They carry a limited commission where they can enforce the laws from that standpoint. So there again, the individuals on Saturday are going to be volunteer. Their time, they're not being paid for it, but rather their goal is to help us out to accomplish our goals down there.
And have you had volunteers?
Actually, we did. We did have our reserve commander. He did volunteer his time this past weekend to monitor the cameras. So.
How many reserve officers do you have?
Currently, we have about 10 to 15, I do believe.
And how much overtime are you expecting from all of this?
That I cannot anticipate right now. That's why we're going to do an evaluation at the end of the time. And the reason I say that is because depending on the tenure of the officer and a supervisor, their pay scale varies. You know, you may have a young officer that may not make as much as, say, as a veteran officer, and so we'll reevaluate it at the end of the term.